You have presented a different face of Iran, a different face than we'd had certainly for the last 8 years. You came here saying you wanted to present the true face of Iran. You have been busy tweeting, at least your office has. You have been giving interviews, you've been giving statements, a real media blitz. Some might call it a PR blitz, spin job. What is your answer to tweeting and posting on social media when the people of Iran don't have access to that? You have said that you would work to reduce censorship inside Iran. Will you do that?
All my efforts are geared to ensure that the people of Iran will comfortably be able to access all information globally and to use it. There are large social networks at a global level around today, and I believe that all human beings have a right and all nations have a right to use them. But at the same time, my efforts are geared for the next few months to deliver all the promises that I made during my election campaign, to make them happen, and as you said, during the election campaign, my supporters actually used them a great deal. And today, those supporters, and even those who criticized me, are still on the same social networks and use them. And I always welcome their views on these networks, as well as those who criticize me, because the government does need to be open to criticism. So one of my plans is to reduce the problems that people face currently on these issues, so that within those sort of moral frameworks that we have for ourselves, we're able to access those social network sites.
One of the things you did, and also your foreign minister did, was to tweet New Year greetings to Jews in Iran and around the world, Rosh Hashanah greetings. You also brought with you on this delegation the only Jewish member of the Iranian parliament. Why was it important for you to bring him here?
Our effort here is to tell the world public opinion that Iran is not only not anti-Semitic, but rather that it respects the customs and beliefs of the Jewish people. You will know that we respect the divine book of the Jewish people, we respect their prophet Moses, and therefore this Jewish representation can actually speak of the reality of the lives of the Jewish people in Iran. We are proud of our history of peaceful coexistence with followers of all belief systems.
One of the things your predecessor used to do from this very platform was deny the Holocaust and pretend that it was a myth. I want to know your position on the Holocaust. Do you accept what it was? And what was it?
I've said before that I am not a historian personally, and that when it comes to speaking of the dimensions of the Holocaust as such, it is the historians that should reflect on it. But in general, I can tell you that any crime that happens in history against humanity, including the crime that the Nazis committed towards the Jews as well as non-Jewish people, is reprehensible and condemnable as far as we are concerned. And just as even such crimes were to happen today against any creed or belief system or human being, we shall again condemn it. So what the Nazis did is condemnable. The dimensions of whatever it is, the historians have to understand what it is. I am not a historian myself, but it must be clear here that where there is an atrocity, a crime that happens, it should not become a cover to work against the interests or justify the crimes against another nation or another group of people. So if the Nazis, however criminal they were, we condemn them. Whatever criminality they committed against the Jews, we condemn, because genocide, the taking of the human life, is condemnable, and it makes no difference whether that life is a Jewish life, a Christian, or a Muslim, or what. But this does not mean that, on the other hand, you can say, well, the Nazis committed crimes against, a certain group, now therefore they must usurp the land of another group and occupy it. This, too, is an act that should be condemned in our view. So there should be an even-handed discussion of this.
Another thing that your predecessor used to do, and in fact President Obama referred to it today in his speech, was threaten Israel with destruction. He used the word wipe Israel off the map. The President of the United States today said we cannot allow any country to threaten our ally with destruction. Is it the policy of Iran to threaten Israel with destruction?
You are aware that not only in these past 35 years, but in the past 200 years or so, Iran has never attacked another country. We have no intention of attacking any country or getting into a war with any country. Even if our armed forces are built up, it is for defense purposes alone. You are fully aware that there was an 8-year war between Iran and Iraq, during which Saddam Hussein attacked us and we were forced to defend ourselves. And we learned how important defense is, and therefore how important it is not to wage war. When it comes to the issue of Palestine, we believe in the public vote. The ballot, in a sense, is that vote for the people of that region that has to happen to settle the dispute that's been lingering for 60 years there. And we will submit to that will and to that ballot and accept it.
On the issue of human rights, just before you came, there was an announcement that 80 prominent human rights activists were released from jail in Tehran, many of them having been taken into jail in the dispute in 2009 after the re-election of President Ahmadinejad. One of them was Nasrin Sotoudeh. I spoke to her and she said to me, "It's great that I'm free, but how about all the others that are still in jail? What is your government going to do to release prisoners of conscience, and particularly two politicians, opposition politicians, Mehdi Karoubi and Mir Hossein Mousavi, who are still being held? What will your government do to work for their freedom and to enable them to continue their political activities?"
You know that in the election campaign that recently took place, I insisted on an issue which I called the Citizenship Charter. I promised the people to put together and publicize a citizenship charter, which I would then present as a bill to legislate on and to allow our society to settle many of the problems that it faces right now. So I have actually authorized the legal department that works under me to create a committee working on this issue in specific. And I believe that very soon this charter, this citizen charter, will be ready, which I can present to the public opinion. And there's a team that's putting it together. So I will spare no effort to ensure that those who are currently in prison will see an opening door.
Let me ask you about Syria. You have said that you've exchanged letters with President Obama on the issue of Syria. Isn't Iran a direct participant in this war? A key commander, General Soleimani, is in there. He's got his men in there. There's many, many men, maybe more than thousands of Iranians in there fighting on the side of Bashar Assad. You have written an op-ed saying that you want to use your government to try to resolve this issue. But isn't one of the resolutions also to take out your fighting men?
The thousands that you speak of is an incorrect figure. Even if you say hundreds, it's an incorrect figure. It is not what is correct as far as the reality on the ground is concerned. We have close relations with Syria from a long time ago. We've had defense agreements with the Syrian government. Some of our army and military officials have assisted Syria or helped in the upkeep, actually, or repair of the weapons that we've had from years ago given to Syria. We have people who are military attachés and military experts who are stationed there. They are the liaisons, the military liaison between our country and Syria, a liaison that has existed from years ago.
They appear to be directing the war on behalf of President Assad. People do say, very serious military people, diplomatic people say, that if it wasn't for your military help, planes bringing weapons and personnel flying over Iraq, members of the Revolutionary Guard there, that President Assad's regime would have fallen already. Do you agree?
You could say that we are assisting Syria militarily. Could you clarify what you mean?
Weapons. Plane loads of them.
Well, I understand what you were saying. What I'm really questioning is the source of it. Again, there's a level of propaganda involved that I would caution you about that is baseless here. You are aware that there are planes that left Tehran to Damascus that were actually forced to land in Baghdad, not only once or twice, but on numerous occasions, under pressure by the Americans, and they couldn't find anything on those planes.
Are you encouraging the regime to give up its chemical weapons as the deal between the U.S. and Russia says?
We believe in general that the entire region of the Middle East, as far as that region is concerned, all weapons of mass destruction, including chemical weapons, have to be eradicated from the region. We are glad that Syria has submitted to the Convention for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, committed itself to that convention, and we actually encourage everyone to submit to this, as laid down by governments as such through those conventions, in the hope that our region will be a region free of weapons of mass destruction.